Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's the Monday mashup, or a variant of it during the summer.
Yeah.
Joining me, as always, my co-host, Mark. How are we?
I'm good, very, very good. Because been, like just said to you there, been a bit of a long week for different reasons, but yeah, back to some sort of normality today, you know.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, we have a great show for you folks tonight. We're going to be going through big topic tonight, the League of Ireland. We're going to be talking about what's going on in there at the moment. We'll give you the latest shortly, but we'll take a look back at where things stand as well, which is because of the tandem of the weekends is slightly out of date, but we'll take a look at that and look back as well. We're going to be talking transfers. We're going to be talking the fixtures, get Marky's thoughts on the fixtures. We will be deep diving into it with Darren on Thursday as well. We couldn't do it last week. Darren had a bit of an eye infection, so we couldn't come on. So we're going to be talking about Daniel Levy recently talking about how he has much bigger aspirations for one Tottenham Hotspur. I don't know where it's come from, but we'll talk about it and discuss it anyway. We're going to be talking about the shithouse that is one Alejandro Garnacho. We're going to be talking about that. We got to touch on it. We get Mark's thoughts on the transfers at the moment and what's going on for some of the teams. And we'll also, what else have we got in there? I think that's mainly it at the moment. So anything else you folks want to throw in on the chat as well, we can go through that as well. But before we begin, as always, our sponsor of the show, Marky, spent a bit of time today for
fair play. Deadly.
I got them all in there.
Fair play, cause yeah, it was Sunday on Saturday. Obviously Premier League legends against Airfield legends out there, and met up with Browner and the lads on Saturday. Had a bite to eat in the hotel just before we headed off. So I was sitting with Stilian Petrov, Yakubu, Wes Brown and Jermaine Beckford, just the five of us around the table having an L chat and stuff like that. So it was good. And the meet and greet was down at the ground in the Airfield clubhouse, which is good because you know yourself when you're traveling from the meet and greet to the game after. Yeah, it's exactly so.
Much better.
We got down there, we got in, and the room was set up and stuff, and it was really good. I set up the trophies just before we went down there. Wes Brown, Yap Sam, Karl Boborski went with the trophies to the Ball Griffin Inn because they were sponsoring it. So a few of the lads, if the barman told a few lads, but they kept it from two lads that were massive United fans, and they said, "You want to see the look on their face when they seen Yap Sam and all coming in," and they were pulling points behind the bar, Yap and Wes and Carol. So yeah, we got to the meet and greet. There was hundreds there. It was very well run though. There was lots of guards and fair play to Keith, Keno, all the lads down at Airfield. Absolutely amazing job they done. It was brilliant. So after the meet and greet, we just there was a little room off the area where the bar was, and they had laid on sandwiches and pasta and everything for us, and tea and coffee and drinks and stuff. So we were there, and then from there it was just straight out into the it's funny. I gave Stephen Weaver, I gave him a hand bringing his massage table and his bits and pieces because he's the Legends physio, and we said to Keith, where's the change room? And he brought us into, like a container. And it was so you walk into the container and you just see David James, Ian Hart, Yap Sam, Wes Brown. You see the jerseys lined up in this container. It was brilliant. But Yap said he loved it. He was like, it's just bringing us back to where we started, that sort of way. So, yeah, we went in and there was a Airfield that organised like a mini blitz on the pitch before the game and stuff. So it was a strange one for us because usually we're rushing from the meet and greet to the ground, and it's all kind of, but the lads were getting massage and getting needles and cuffs, and we were sitting around waiting for about 10, 15, 20, even 20 minutes it might be to go out onto the pitch for a warm-up and stuff. So went out onto the pitch. I sent you a video of a little warm-up and stuff, and then the crowd started coming in, and there was the stand behind the goal and stuff. So yeah, it was really good. And then the lads, if any is there in the chat there, the match is actually on YouTube. Airfield put it up yesterday, so I watched it back. So Airfield went 1-0 up after 2 minutes. Mistake by Stephen Kerr. David James, I felt, should have been a bit better at the front post, But then they scored a goal, and myself, Brown, or Colin, and all looked over. The referee was over celebrating with them. He was jumping around with them and all right. So this is all right, fair enough. This is what we're up against here. So anyway, just after the goal, Airfield's goalkeeper, a ball came back to him, no one around, starts doing kick-ups, right? And then he gets on the ground, starts doing press-ups like that. Lads are like, these lads are hating the bleeding piss here. So about 10 minutes later, Petrov scores. And what does he do as a celebration in front of the keeper? Gets down and starts doing press-ups and stuff like that.
Deadly.
But only a few minutes after that, this is what there was a Airfield went on the attack, and you'll see it on YouTube. Your man played a through ball, and the Airfield striker, I'd say, was about 3 or 4 yards offside, and the assistant referee puts a flag up for offside, right? So again, the referee does this like VAR sign, right? And he goes to his ear like that, and he runs over to the Airfield dugout, and he's pretending to look at a screen, and he turns around and he gives the goal. Well, you want to see Colin? Oh my God, he lost the plot. So at half time, then I put the water out on the sideline, stand there with Browner and Stay and all, and I was just seeing Colin march by us, went straight over to the referee and ate the head off him. You want to see it? Keith Gillespie's going bleeding mental as well. But then in the second half, another one of the players wanted to make a name for himself, and I didn't. We were at the angle where we couldn't see the tackle properly. One of them went in and absolutely took out Jason McAteer. It was a bad challenge. And he walks away, and you can see the ref tell him to go back and say sorry. So he's gone back, and of course, I can only imagine what McAteer was saying. He was effing and blinding at him. And what does your man do? He starts going like this. You know the Roy Keane thing? He starts doing that to McAteer.
No way.
Round them up even worse. So Jay had to stop anyway because he caught him bad. So McAteer came off the pitch and he was going mad, and he was telling us all the story about it and stuff like that. It was mad. They were just trying everything. But yeah, the Legends went on to win 4-3 in the end. Obviously, like I said, one of the goals was pure offside, but the referee gave it just. And in fairness, Colin had said to him, he said, "It's not about you. You're making it about yourself." And well, not in such a polite way, that sort of way. So then after that, it was a strange one because usually, you go into the change room and the lads have a shower, and then usually all the jerseys and whatever you want get signed will be put up on the table, and the lads will sign them. But there was no showers in Airfield, so obviously this is why they're doing the fundraiser, to be able to build a clubhouse and do all that.
That's right, yeah.
Exactly. So straight back to the Hilton Hotel, so the lads can have showers in the room and stuff like that. So myself and Steve ended up having a shower in Keith Gillespie's room and stuff like that. Not together, mind you. And we were downstairs when we got in, and we were just sitting around having a few points. I was chatting to Ian Hart for ages. He had his young lad over, chatting to Stephen Carr, absolute gent he is. David James was sitting beside me, having a gin and tonic and stuff, and I was chatting to him about Soccer Aid and stuff like that, and he was telling me about some of the art he's doing and stuff. And myself and Jermaine Beckford then proceeded to order around the baby Guinness. You want to see the look on your one's face? Actually, shout out to Mary Jane at the Hilton Hotel. She was excellent with all the lads. You want to see the face when we going up order.
The round of baby Guinness has become a thing, isn't it? It's now a Legends 11 thing, isn't it?
It has. And you know what? Myself and Jermaine kind of done it at the lead thing. And Jermaine said that he had a few points of Guinness when he got in. I just had a Heineken because it was too heavy. It was too warm for the Guinness. Yeah. But we got around in. And then, as you well know, when just before the dinner starts, everyone else is obviously in there, all the guests and all, and the Legends get announced in and stuff. And Colin came in, he was like, "Lads, they're going to call us in 5-10 minutes." So we were like, "Right." And I just looked at Jermaine, he gave me a wink, and I went up, I was like, "Mary Jane," we get another round. So we got another round of baby Guinness then, and then we went in for the dinner. And like I was saying to you just there, I had the soup for starters, and then it was so warm in the room, I decided to go outside for a bit of fresh air. And little did I know, Yap Sam was outside just getting a bit of fresh air as well. And we started chatting. We were probably outside for about 45 minutes, just the two of us. And then we went in, and in the Hilton Hotel, before the function room, there's like a bar for the function room, but it's outside it. And I said, "Jack, do you want a drink?" So Heineken. But in that bar, they only done the bottles. So we got 2 bottles of Heineken. I'm standing there chatting, still chatting to him, and I become a photographer at this stage because we're inside now. We were outside, quiet, blah, blah. Everyone's like, "Oh, Yap, can I have a picture?" So Yap would hand me his bottle, and I take a picture, I give it back to him. So we were there for a while. Steve came and found us, Steve and we, for the the physio for the Legends 11. He goes, lads, where is? We said, just hanging around. So myself and Yap missed the main course because we were outside for so long and stuff. So then I said to him, do you want a proper point? So I walked around to the far bar, I got a point of Heineken. So myself and Yap had a point each. And then I was back into the room for dessert, and there was an auction then. PJ Gallagher done the auction. They made a good few quid. Actually, fair play. David James donated his gloves to the auction. He signed his gloves and he donated them. Stilian Petrov bought them in the auction and gave them back to the club to auction off again. So it was brilliant the way they done it. I think they raised €1,000 for David James's gloves alone. They had loads of signed jerseys there. And then McAteer got up and said a few words, and he spoke about Saipan and stuff like that. So I think there was a few videos made, so I won't give too much away if they were released. And
see the new documentary coming out.
Yes, it looks good. I've seen the clip for it today. So
Jason's very good, isn't he? Jason McAteer on the mic, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's very entertaining as well. Like
he brought one of his mates over, and his mate plays golf with the likes of Robbie Fowler, Kenny Dalglish, all these lads, and he was. I was listening to stories from his mate, and they were unbelievable stories. Like I was kind of but Mark Chase at the laugh though. Stephen Carr brought the missus over, stunner, like you know, and McAteer comes in from this is just as we got back, comes in, he turns around and goes, fuck me, Carr, you're well punching above your and everyone just starts pissing themselves laughing. But yeah, it was great. And then after that it was just more drinking and the auction, bit of music and dancing and stuff like that. And I think Browner left early because he wasn't staying, and so we kind of all left early enough. Like not like if they were staying over, you'd usually be there till about 2 and 3. But we were good boys and left early, so it was a great day. Absolutely fantastic day. Like I said, fair play to Airfield. I think they said there was about 13 to 1400 at it, and they'd obviously invited a lot of clubs from around the area to come in and play the Blitz, and all the parents were there, and they just had it was a brilliant day out. They put on a great spread. They did a temporary stand. Mattress Mick was there to open the temporary stand. They had that there as well and stuff like that. So it was a brilliant day, you know.
Yeah, no, that's great. The pictures and the videos you were sending me were fantastic. So
yeah, no, it was excellent. I was really enjoyed it, and obviously you get to see a few of them now next month, the 12th of July up in Dundalk for the Manchester United Legends against Rock Celtic up there in Dundalk. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're chatting to Keith Gillespie for a while, and we said we're looking forward to it. Wes is coming back over. Wes hurt his calf, but he's coming back over, and Yappy there again with Carol and the lads. So yeah, really good, and obviously I spoke to you earlier. I got a phone call earlier on about the trophies going to an event this Friday. So I'm going to have the trophies up in Vicar Street this Friday night, and that is an evening with one Stephen Gerrard on Friday night. So yes, so yeah, no, looking forward to that as well. It should be a bit of crack, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a good evening.
Yeah. So no, it's busy like that. That's Friday night, and then with Tyrrell Sound United on Saturday for their end of season deal and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very busy at the minute.
So folks, don't forget Instagram and Facebook, Hogan Elite Trophy Her. Make sure you're giving them a follow over there and giving Marky and all the boys the support. Just to bring you bang up to date tonight on what's happening at the moment. Bohemians are 2-0 up against Shamrock Rovers at Dalymount. Where are we? What else do we need? Bray at the moment 2-0 down. Cove 1-0 up. Cork are losing 1-0 to Drogheda. Finn Harps 0-0 with Dundalk at the moment, 60 minutes gone. Longford 2-1 down to Athlone. Galway and Sligo 1-1. Should be a real entertaining last 30 minutes. Galway on a bit of form at the moment. St. Pat's really struggling form wise at the moment, 1-0 down to Derry at home. At Richmond. Treaty and Wexford 0-0. Waterford and Shelbourne 2-2 at the moment, and we will be talking about Shelbourne, big part of it. And just to bring you up to date in the Club World Cup at the moment, Atletico, it's half time. Atletico Madrid 0, Botafogo 0, and Seattle Sounders 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1, which means the first shock of the tournament could happen tonight with Atletico Madrid going out. Just to let you know. So that brings you bang up to date there on everything at the moment, as far as I know. That's where we are. Right. Let's take in some League of Ireland. Obviously, some interesting results at the weekend. The one that stands out, I mean, obviously, is the Derry win at Shelbourne. Not a great outing for Duffer. And we'll come and talk to him in a second. But what did you make of that Galway second goal?
Yeah, cracker.
Peachy.
Your man, was it Hurley scored it? Your man David Hurley, I think, got it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Cracker of a goal. All right, Will was actually there on Saturday as well. He was speaking to McAteer's mate for a long time. They were in. I think they didn't see much of the match. They were just in the bar having a few pints of Guinness together.
Yeah. Did Phil make it up to the match as well?
I didn't see Phil. I told him to come over on the day. I didn't see him, so I don't know what the story was. If he's in the chat, you can let me know, Phil. I didn't see you there anyway. I know you would have come over and said hello if you were there, you know.
Yeah, we seen that Canate. We'll talk about it in the transfer bit in the show. But yeah, some interesting results, and obviously tonight puts this kind of out of date a little bit. And in Division 1, of course, Bray really struggling at the moment.
Yeah. I
think they've had 2 wins out of the last 5 or something like that, so they're kind of falling away. So we're kind of relying at the moment on Cove and on Bohemians and Drogheda to kind of keep both divisions honest.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a massive drop-off.
Finn Harps are beating Dundalk 1-0. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So not only that, the invincible situation could
exactly, because I was going to say they went 1-0 up in the 86th minute on Friday, and then 3 to equalise in the 92nd minute, which Dundalk have been doing a bit themselves this season as well. So it was good crack. How are you, Dino?
Big up, Dino. Hope you're good, my friend.
I don't know if Dino was there for my announcement for Friday night, but I'll get a few pictures for you.
Yeah, Mark has, Dino, just let you know, Mark has the trophies up in Vicar Street on Friday night for the Stevie G evening. Just to let you know.
Could be a bit of crack.
The stories McAteer's mate had were unbelievable. We also bet on a couple of horses.
He was so man well, isn't he?
Well, did you have any winners?
I bet he takes Roland, so absolutely no winners on Saturday, I'd say.
Yeah.
Stop.
There we go. Right, I want to talk to you about this. I did a show, I think, last Monday week or something like that, whatever it was anyway. Well, maybe it might have been last Monday even, not too sure. And you weren't coming on, obviously, so I did a solo. You were caught up, obviously, with the Anticourse, RIP and all, rest in peace. And I spoke about the pressure that Duffer was under and that he didn't seem himself. There was a lot seemed to be going on there. There was a lot of shade being thrown at the post-match interviews, you know, kind of like having a go at Bradley for the celebrating and all that kind of stuff, and getting dug down into the petty kind of stuff. And then, not that he shies away from this at times, but he sometimes has a proper go with his own players as well, doesn't it? And I'm not sure at times if it motivates or not, but I listened to him after the defeat the other day, and he just sounded absolutely fucking cheesed off. And fed up, you know, and frustrated and stuff. And it didn't sound like it didn't sound like, I don't know whether he had heard it or not, or it didn't sound like, a couple of the players were up to a bit of no good, maybe. And they didn't fall in line for him at the weekend, heading into the Monday match then and stuff like that and all. And,
it was like my cousin texted me, David, at 1:30 yesterday afternoon, and he said, I'm starting to hear rumours about Duffer. I was like, surely not. And then all of a sudden it was steamrolling, and then it came out, and I sent you the voice note that happened, that you came over and said it took you as far as you could. Like, I think since he's come in, not just for Shells, when he came over here to take over the Shamrock Rovers under 15s at the time, he came over and he set such a high standard. You know, he's playing in England since he was a schoolboy. He started training the under 15s at 6 a.m. in the morning. giving them the breakfast, and they'd be sent off by a bus from the training ground to school. So he was trying to set a standard that they had in England and bring it over here, because when he came over here to play for Rovers to see out the end of his career, he seen the standards weren't even at the levels of, say, League One and League Two in England, you know, that sort of way. So he kind of took it upon himself to bring those standards over here, so we can get where he's coming from in that aspect. And then, you know, when you set yourself them high standards, you have to follow up on it. Obviously, fantastic getting promotion when they did, getting to the FAI Cup final against Derry that time, and then to win the league like we did last season in the manner we did. You know, Rovers getting back into it close in the end, and then beating Derry in the last game of the season. We all know in football, it's, you know, so tough to win these leagues, but it's even tougher to defend your title. And it was strange for me because, yes, they hadn't been playing well at times. Some of the lads, sorry, Shell's on the break here now. Opportunity played across the box. No, there was, you know, times where you look at it going, right, the performances haven't been there. But you look at Rovers last season, you know, they got to this point in the season and they weren't doing half as well. So there is that kind of hope that you'll be able to push on. But yeah, there's obviously been a serious falling out with, in terms of him and the standard that he wants the players to have. Like we've seen it before, Shane Farrell moved to Drogheda. He had a falling out with Duffer. Duffer wasn't happy with his performances in training and stuff, and a week later he sold to Drogheda. You know, he's called out Boydie a lot of times when Boydie hasn't been performing, and he's kind of upped his game and stuff like that as well. So I was very
it's a very interesting line to take, though, isn't it? Because it's a kind of it's a risky kind of way to go, isn't it, in terms of managerial? Because you'll either motivate a guy by dogging him, or he'll go in further into himself, and you'll make the situation worse. Some people react to it, and some people react against it. I don't think this was, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not close enough to it. But how did you? This didn't seem to be a club thing. Does this seem to be the players and the manager and the coaching staff kind of thing? More so than, because I seen the statement from Shells, which was, you know, impeccable, really, and stuff like that. Do you want me to play the voicemail you sent me?
Yeah, if you want to play it, yeah, absolutely.
Put it on it, yeah.
Apparently, lads, this is from the players, one of the players anyway. The weirdest and oddest announcement that he's leaving ever. He went into training, he was supposed to train. I'm supposed to have a meeting. Obviously, an analysis meeting for the game tomorrow. Didn't do that. Lazo told us to go onto the pitch. Him and Joey were there, stood miles away from the session. Joey just walked to his car, got in his car and left. Duffer went over to the lads before they start that warm up and says, right, lads, I took you as far as I can take us. That's me. And just walked off. That's the way he told the players. Fucking nuts, isn't it?
There you go.
It was nuts.
So that seems like a very strange way to exit a situation in a club where you've just taken them to a league title, in you know, an unbelievable achievement, and not only that, you're about to embark on a European campaign as well.
Exactly, Linfield next week. It is. It's so strange. Like a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you know, he jumped before he was pushed," and I think obviously that, if what we're hearing about the Brentford situation is true, you know, Andrews would have been in contact with him a while back, and maybe the situation in his head, getting beaten by Derry the other night in the manner we did. A few other results haven't gone our way. Yes, we picked up a few points over the last few weeks that, you know, we probably won the top, and I think maybe that's what it was. Again, like I said, he sets so much high standards for himself. He's in that frame of mind now where. Cheers, Dino. Thanks a million, pal. He's in that frame of mind of I'll say it to him, Dino, don't you worry, pal.
Realness.
Yeah, he took the words out of my mouth, Dino. He's if that is true, he's obviously known for it for a while, you know.
I think he knew longer. Longer, because the thing about it is the Thomas Frank situation hadn't just come about. That was there because obviously the Ange situation had been in place, kind of thing, and we talk about it with Levy in a minute. So obviously with that being in place, obviously the Thomas Frank thing was fairly much in place as well. which obviously meant Brentford had been looking well before we all knew about the Thomas Frank thing and all that kind of thing. So this could have been out there for a while. But what do you make if this is true, this move? Like, we don't know if it's there was articles coming out this evening denying it and stuff like that, so we don't know whether it's true or not. But it's an interesting move, isn't it, to go from managing Shells, okay, you're having a nosedive this season on the back of winning, and you're about to embark on a European campaign, so maybe you might do something there, you know, who knows? Yeah. There's obviously going to be a difficult campaign as well, because if your league form is poor, you know, you're not going to get any passes in Europe, really, you know.
And another thing that shocked me, because sorry for cutting across you, is obviously in that voice now, it said Joey O'Brien walked to his car and he took the match tonight, because I was talking to Deals about this in work. I was like, I'd say Joey's gone as well, because he's been with him for so long, and obviously played with him with Rovers at the end and stuff. And I was very shocked to see that Joey was still there and he was in charge tonight. I thought you would have went with him. It's particularly when you listen to that, saying Joey walked off and he just drove. So I thought if he knew he was going to take over tonight, he would have stuck around and took the session and stuff, you know.
Shelbourne is just over on the north side of Dublin, Everest. It's one of the historical clubs, really. I mean, I used to go. Liverpool actually had links with Shelbourne back in the 90s. I used to go and watch the pre-season games out there in Talca.
Okay, Leeds, United, Liverpool all used to play. Started off in Ringsend, which is the home of Football Rovers, started there as well, and the success they've had over the years and stuff. And
actually, full circle for you at the weekend. The first time I seen David James live was in Talca Park on one of those friendlies. And Razor, and Razor,
brilliant. But I just thought that was weird. How Joey was there. Yes,
he did. And Blackburn.
And Newcastle. And Shamrock Rovers. But it's a strange one. He's obviously in his head. Listen, he's a character. I think he's done brilliant for the league in general. He's brought a bit of attention to the league, and no matter whether you like him or loathe him, I think he's been a great character to have over the last 3.5 years, whether it's his antics on the sideline, because we always thought he was this quiet lad, even though I've seen him. My mate Keith refereed his team, Rovers under 15s, and I saw him in a different light, you know. His celebration style when he won the league, all this, I just think he was an all-round great character, and he was trying to improve the league. He really was.
What I really liked about him was he was very protective of Irish football and the Irish league. He wouldn't have a bad word said about it. You've seen the clashes he had with Ian Hart and stuff like that when that stuff came out, the agency stuff and all that, having to go to England to make a career for yourself, that kind of stuff and all. But you've seen it as well when, like, he always talked up the league. And he always talked about how important it was and how successful it is and how it's growing and getting better all the time. He never really had a bad word to say about the league.
Yeah, it was just the FAI he never liked. He
clashed with literally every manager. But I mean, that's just part of when you're in that cauldron of trying to, like that cauldron he was in last season of trying to get Shells over the line, when in theory, Shells should have really walked over that line way in advance. What happened last season, that it came down 100%. To that last game, was insane. Brilliant for us, obviously, as fans, and the excitement of it and stuff like that. But really, Shells should have walked the league last year.
There was I'd say a 10-game run where they only drew 2 games and lost the rest in that 10 games.
And then everyone came back into it.
Exactly. And then I think that was obviously what happened then and brought it to the last game. And obviously from a neutral point of view, it gives you that bit of extra spice going into it. But from a Shelbourne point of view, give you heart problems, you know. But I think he was linked with Lincoln last season as well, and he decided to stay. He was he was linked with someone else. I can't remember, either in League One or League Two. So when this happened yesterday, I was thinking to myself, right, you know, some teams are looking to get new managers in League One, League Two, and then obviously the rumours started coming out about, you know, assistant manager of Brentford with the Premier League team. So yeah, what would you do? Would you manage your own team in League One or League Two, or would you want being number 2 in the Premier League? You know.
Yeah, big up Everest. Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I haven't looked at this, but for me personally, I wouldn't be leaving that Wrexham project. I think that Wrexham project
it's a long move, but he was kind of pushed out the door by the manager.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't getting game time and stuff like that towards the end of the last season, and apparently he was told a few days after the last game that to basically look for a move, that he wasn't in the manager's plans.
Okay.
So that's what I heard anyway. So yeah,
interesting. We'll have to take a look at that, because I always try and keep an eye on Wrexham and what's going on, because it's such a fascinating project, how they keep on getting promoted and stuff like that and all, you know. What do you think? I mean, obviously for me, I'm a kind of neutral in this. I kind of follow Rovers a little bit, and I follow Brave Wanderers because they're local and all that kind of stuff. But for you, you're a Shells fan. The boys in the chat are Shells fans and stuff like that. What's your overall feel this? Like, let's suppose next week he gets announced as Keith's assistant. How does this land with you? How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? Was it kind of all premeditated? I don't mean the results and the poor form in the league and all. Obviously, that had its challenges, and I think from a player point of view as well, it was very difficult as well. You know, he was trying to juggle a squad through injuries and players he lost, and you know, you found at a time some kind of weird lineups, if you like, midfielders playing in defence, and which is never a great recipe. We know that. I know that from my own team, Liverpool. Like, it's never a great recipe putting midfielders into defence anyway. But what's your overarching kind of feel about this? Let's suppose it gets announced and it does happen.
Be very, very disappointed, you know, to see the project he started 3.5 years ago, to take it as far as he has and won the league, and particularly, like you said, the timing. It's a week before the qualifiers against Linfield for the Champions League. You know, we haven't had Champions League football in so long. I remember the games in '98. Remember we against we got Celtic, and I think Pat got Rangers, or it was the other way around or whatever in '98. But yeah, just disappointed the timing of it. You just think in your head. I was sitting there thinking yesterday, what would the situation be if we had a bet there? You know, he would have went in. Maybe, you know, if we had a bet there, he would have went into training, giving it loads, going, right, we're Waterford away now tomorrow night, let's give it. And then Brentford goes to the back of your head, and you're not thinking about that because you got that good feeling back in. But obviously, listen, the players obviously were because I think he said he was indoors, get out of the sunshine, keeping himself to himself, and it was obviously a dig at a lot of players, and he's done that over the past. So there's obviously something that he wasn't happy with there. And again, like I said, it's the players not being able to reach those standards that he set for the club. So just very frustrating. And listen, if he is, I suppose, if he is announced as Keith Andrews number 2, you can't really knock him for wanting to get a move to the Premier League, but it's how it happens and how
right
quick
way
it's happened as well. Exactly, yeah.
Like we talked about it on how many shows about Trent. That there's a way to leave a club. It's not that we don't. It's not that you shouldn't go and join Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world. But there's a way to leave and keep your legacy intact and leave the right way. And this kind of feels like it was kind of. This kind of feels like things weren't going the right way for him, and he got out of Dodge, and he's kind of dropped them a little bit in the mire on the eve of the Champions League campaign, potentially.
Yeah,
and you know, if things go south with Linfield, I think it is Linfield.
Yeah,
Linfield. If things go south with that, that's going to be part of his door, isn't it?
Yeah,
I would think.
Oh, 100%. You know? And in fairness, the club had been good to him. They've backed him when he needed to be back. Harry Woods came in on loan from Hull that time, and when the previous owner was there, and then the new owners came in and they backed him. They bought Woods from Hull, which was a massive move. Conor Masterson was in the crowd on Friday night. He's a free agent. You'll know him, former Liverpool under-21 captain. Obviously got a bad injury, moved to QPR, started his career here at Lucan United. So he was in the crowd on Friday night in Talca, and what I heard was they're in talks with him, but obviously Pats and Rovers are pushing in as well. But what I heard was his preferred choice would be to play under Duff. But you know, the club are willing to do that. So the club have always kind of backed him in a way. You know, they've tried to do right by him, and it's just a kick in the face really for the club that he's done it in this manner. And like I said, particularly now if it's announced about the other thing with Brentford.
Yeah, it's kind of like the jigsaw, the pieces are filling in, but they're not filling in a way that shines a good light on you really. However, it's just to let you know the travel is insane in the Championship. It covers the whole country. Crazy. And Wales and everything. It's insane. The good thing I'd say about Wrexham though is I know the boys they always kind of part fund the bus for the away matches and stuff like that. And they do a real good job. Romy, what's happening? Hey lads, Trent had a smashing game against Pachuca.
Romy, have you got your Trent jersey? Yeah, have you got it? Number 12, isn't it, or something?
God, his first match was terrible, and his second match they were bragging about it. And he got a 6.2 under rating. I think he was the lowest rated player. He'll come good for you, Robbie. Don't worry. You will get those moments that he provided us. Don't worry. Don't be panicking yet. You don't have to go out and buy another right back yet. We just got our one, so it's all good.
Not just yet. Not just yet.
Yeah, not just yet. So yeah, we'll park it for the moment and see what comes out of it. But I think a lot of people would be really disappointed. Now, having said that, talk to me about Thomas Frank stepping out, going into Spurs. Brentford then, obviously, and Buemo apparently going out the door. I know a number of other players that potentially will leave as well. You've got Kid Andrews going in there. Damien Duff combo, if you like, potentially. Again, we're not sure where that's going to happen. But if that goes in there, how worried would you be for Brentford going into the new season?
Yeah, it's very, very tough. It'd be very tough for them because obviously with the amount of change, that's been going on and stuff like that. Obviously Keith's been around. He's been the set piece coach for Brentford for a while now. Obviously he was around the Irish setup and stuff as well, so he has that experience. But Premier League experience managing is a different story. And another thing, it'd be Matt Duffer was obviously number 2 at Celtic and Rovers and stuff like that, and then he's been number 1 for the last 3.5 years, been successful. To go back to number 2, it's going to be interesting. And because not only that, because we know Keith is more kind of quiet and we know what Duffer's character is like, so it'd be an interesting combo. But this is
Eddie Howe Tyndall levels, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's Eddie Howe Tyndall level. Yeah.
You would worry for them because the success they've had over the last few years, they've kind of Shell's had an opportunity there, just come by the post, deflected out for a corner. Literally.
And also the other thing I'll be looking at as well is there a number of Brentford players now looking over their shoulder thinking, right, we've lost Thomas Frank and the load up is now Keith Andrews and Damien Duff. Now these are players that the lads will be familiar with down through the years and stuff like that. But is that really, is Quavane looking at this move going, what have I done here?
Possibly.
Did I go too quick? I don't mean now the Liverpool obviously wanted the move, but was Brentford the move? Is it the right move? And you know what I mean? What you're thinking on it? Because obviously it'd be a disaster, especially for Quavine now if Brentford would say get relegated.
Exactly, particularly if he wants to be Ireland's number 1. You want him playing in the Premier League. We've seen it happen with Gav getting relegated down to the Championship at Southampton. Unfortunately got injured then. But
were you expecting Brentford to bring in it? Were you expecting Brentford to bring in a different level of manager?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the back of Thomas Frank leaving,
100%. Particularly the standards Thomas has set for them. Over the last few years, we're so used to them attacking and playing such
always competitive.
Exactly. Remember that they used to score in the first 10 minutes of every game or something like that, or the first 4 minutes, whatever it was. Or just fail for them because you don't want to see them, Keith and say Duffer coming in and then they get relegated and then they become a championship team for the next 7, 8, 9 years. That can easily happen, And not only that, the fans will be expecting to see a high standard of football there, particularly
and then potentially two lads as well turning around and going, I don't fancy this either now.
Yeah. So it's going to be, for a Brentford fan, I wouldn't be too happy this summer,
Yeah, absolutely. Roll me in. I got my trench shirt sorted. I have a wardrobe of them over there. All you do is give me your address. I could have sent them to you. Not a bother. I did tweet Trent to yesterday, I think it was, Romy, when he put up that post about how happy he was to be playing in a white shirt. I had to remind him that Liverpool had a couple of white shirts down through the years that he played in. But there you go. Gonzalo, the wee 21-year-old striker we have, is looking like good gravy. He is.
Just seeing him, it looks good.
Yeah. Everest, what is this Trent species you mentioned? It is an amphibian, a reptile, a rodent. I'm confused. Absolutely. Romy, it's me, Everest. It's a player Liverpool was crying over like they got told to come off the Xbox. We were. Fairness. Is Damien Duff a decent manager? He is. The only thing I would say about Duffer is he's very, very hands-on. He's a little bit loose-lipped. and he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's kind of a bit like Amarin, isn't he? Like he'll go into an interview and he'll be brutally honest about a player to a T. I think he could be a little bit. I think if it's Brentford, now he might be doing the interviews, obviously with Keith being the manager and stuff like that. But if he is, I don't think those players would take too kindly to being like, and you and you and you, and being put up against a wall kind of thing. But he has all the facets of a good manager.
And he hasn't done it overnight. Like he's learned his trade. He's gone. He's coaching at, like I said, at Celtic. He's come back. He managed the underage Shamrock Rovers team and stuff like that. And then he got involved with Rovers and he got to move over to Shell. So it hasn't, he's really been working at it. And
a smashing footballer at a very high level.
Absolutely.
Not to be said when we talk about Irish players.
I was just going to say that's very rare coming from Ireland. Obviously, there was a time in the 80s and the 90s where it happened all the time, but since then it had been very rare. And yeah, he's definitely up there with them,
Yeah, absolutely. Romy's saying Damien Duff back as a coach at Celtic, maybe. No, the talk is going in as probably number 2 to Keith Andrews at Brentford. That's the talk at the moment. Now we don't know; might not be the case. Raul, who uses Xbox these days? PS is the truth. There we go. We just hit the underside of the bar in the last minute.
Yeah, seeing that.
Yeah,
epoxy. Yeah. How are you feeling about the whole Duffer situation?
Yeah, well, tell us. You haven't said that tonight about Duffer. How are you feeling about it? Take it from what you know right now, and tell us how you would feel if you hear in the next week or so he's installed as Keith's number 2 over at Brentford. How do you feel about that? Because these things don't just suddenly happen. There was a kind of an abruptness to this, the way it ended, and it kind of felt like a get out of Dodge situation. But let us know your thoughts, because we're all on the outside. We don't know. We just hear. But let us know how you feel as a guy who's in the stands, goes to the matches, who's religiously following the club.
Another man of that caliber, I think, just jumped into the chat there a minute ago. Phil is in the chat.
I see him down the bottom there. Yeah, I'll get down to him now in a second. I'll jump down to him now in a second. Liverpool, they just discovered the Xbox. In Liverpool, they just discovered the Xbox.
Romy, they're all on Bebo in Liverpool here.
That's it. MySpace. Is he ready to jump to the Prem team, though? I'd say he is. Because he holds himself to a high level as well. Duffer's not going to talk himself down.
And I'm saying as well, Everest, this isn't the first English club he's been linked with before.
The blue part of Merseyside. There you go. You might have noticed at the start, folks, in the graphic, Wunya Kubu was in there as well. So if you ever try and call me an impartial Liverpool fan,
there's a clip, lads. There's a clip on Airfield United's Facebook page. Yak. I won't just say anything. Go onto Airfield United's Facebook page. He absolutely humiliates the rifle. And for everyone else there as well, the full matches on YouTube, on Airfield United's YouTube page. Go on and have a look. It's very good.
Yeah, absolutely. He was sensational. And when he broke through even for the Ireland team that time, and him and Robbie and stuff like that, and the play between the two of them and stuff like that was sensational at times. Serious player.
And he's a serious partier as well. Do you remember the video a few months ago?
Yeah. And remember, he's a guy who's held in huge regard by the likes of Jose Mourinho and all.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's not dampen this down in terms of if he went to Brentford and stuff like that. But it's just the circumstances of it. As James Redmond says, I'm being serious, James Redmond. Oh yeah, man, huh? Phil, how are you? Hi lads, still sad over Duff leaving Shelbourne. Give us your thoughts on it as well, Phil, if you want. No problem. This can be a therapy session for you guys. It's all good.
Big time,
you know what I mean? It's all good. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know how you feel if he heads over to Brentford. What was your thinking? Obviously the season wasn't going great and stuff like that. Maybe change was on the way anyway, and it was probably going to happen. Maybe it's better now. Maybe that change happens. You get someone in, and maybe you have a whack at that, Linfield and stuff like that, and see how that goes. Absolutely, but let us know. Romy, Duff Derry City will have you to go. Andre Wisdom gave us approval. In Liverpool, they still use Windows XP. I won't have a bad word about Windows XP. I have a laptop in the shop that I use for the cash register, and it's Windows for Work Groups Professional or something like that. And it's way back, but it runs the till
You've had
perfectly.
that since the start, have you? Is that the same one?
I've had that since my Microsoft. No, it's not. It's the same program, same till system, but it's 3 different laptops because my lovely wife, who used to work in the shop 1 or 2 days a week, decided to spill a cup of tea over a laptop one day.
As you do,
and that went, and I had a spare laptop out the back. And 3 hours later, she rings me to tell me she did the afternoon cup of tea over the second laptop.
Oh, lads.
So there you go. There you go. Roll me. Thomas Frank can't wait to see him aging like Benjamin Button at Spurs. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not too sure about it. I'd rather have XP than all these new shit Windows 10 and 11, which always have bugs and crashes. Absolutely. Solid it was. Niall still vibes on that Commodore 64. Roll me. I can tell you all about Commodore 64. I can tell you about Falcon Patrol and all those games and that 20 stone keyboard and that tape cassette and all. On Commodore 64, baby. Old school rules. To be honest, I'm devastated, and it was weird how abrupt it was because even though we weren't great, every fan's still backed him. He gave us unbelievable moments. So I just wish him the best, to be honest. Yeah. I think there's not much more you can do, is it? I was in shock when I got the news, but I think he did his time at Chefs. And what's a new challenge in England? Probably, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Phil, were you at the match on Saturday? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know, Phil, if you were at Airfield. Marky was wanting to know. Niall, if you need help with a laptop, pop into Curry's and see me.
Will is your man. Curry's Jervis Street Shopping Centre. Look out for the lad in the green.
I'm good here at the moment, Will, because here I have a Lenovo business laptop because you need a really strong laptop to run StreamYard. Otherwise, it won't run. I used to run it on a HP laptop that I had. And man, it was just a disaster because this is like a proper studio, you know. So, but yeah, I will keep that. I'll keep that in mind if I'm looking for one.
Because just something popped into my head there we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
If anyone in the chat seen, I think Philip said it to me earlier, and a few of the other lads, the clip of the new Saipan film coming out. So what you must do is remember our episode of Saipan. You must put that up again as a little thing, you know.
I share it every time the anniversary comes around. I always share it. And actually, if you go onto the channel at the moment, I think if you go across the recommendations, it's one of the recommendations.
No way.
Because for some reason that night we hit it out of the park and the views were insane.
That was good. It was good.
Phil says, Phil first. I was indeed with Paul. A great turnout for it. Phil, you should have come over and give Marky dogs.
Yeah, you should have.
That was your opportunity.
Where were you standing, Philip? Obviously, I was in the dugout, but I didn't see you now.
He was in the temporary stand negotiating a new mattress with Mick.
Yeah, up the mattress, Mick.
The Akubu clip of him sending Giggsy off Airfield for the paper was a Sky Sports News today.
Sure, I sent you the game made the Daily. Was it the Daily Mail in England?
That's right, we're currently, balls.ie and everything and all. Yeah,
mad.
Absolutely.
Mad.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I saying that 28 years later, wish I waited another 28 years. Really, is it not good? I want to go see it because I'm a fan of the first two. In different talk about it at the moment. It's based up in Scotland, as far as I know. I also have a Lenovo, but for some reason, if it's running on DC power supply, it freezes. I still have no clue why it does that. Yeah, I always run on the power as well. Couldn't run on the battery with StreamYard. Be a disaster. William, I don't think Mattress Mick liked when I told him he couldn't lift the trophies.
Oh, love it. I seen him over there, Will. Obviously, at one stage, probably for most of the time, was looking after the trophies for me because I was getting dragged left, right, and centre. I hear go over there, go over here, and stuff like that. So yeah, no, fair play, Will.
You should have hooked up with him to get the trophies into the shop a few times a year.
Curry's.
No, I went to Mattress Mick.
Oh, Mattress Mick, yeah. Must get on to him now, get a free bed over or something, you know, yourself.
And Curry's.
Hey.
There's your problem. The SMP got to the movie. Yeah, there we go. I wish I was in the stand then. We moved to the other side. It was a bit noisy for Porrig with the kids.
Yeah,
so we moved around.
Kids. I'll tell you one thing. There was about a minute and a half left. The ball was up the far end, and I looked down. all the kids were on the pitch where at David James's end. They were standing right on the pitch, so they had to get all the stewards go down and move them behind the fence. Like,
yeah, right. We're gonna talk shortly about fixtures and folks and all this conspiracy theories about how these fixtures are put together and stuff like that. Now, but before we get into that, Daniel Levy, we've won a European trophy, but it's not enough. Say what? Say what? We want to win the Premier League. We want to win the Champions League. Not in my lifetime or my kids' lifetimes or any other kids' lifetimes, I can tell you. So they parted. Ange went. No third season for Ange. Because third season is supposed to be better than the second one, apparently. But Thomas Frank in the hot seat now. What did you make of this? Like, this guy is unbelievable from a business sponsorship, generating money, wringing out the wet towel to get every shilling out of it. He's unbelievable. But in terms of football and football focus and ambition, I mean, what you thinking when he comes out with stuff like this? Like
it's one thing to say it, and then for him to actually believe it as well, it's delusional, you know. I think he should stick to that sort of thing of looking after the business. What he done with the new training ground and the stadium at the time was brilliant. How he done it and stuff. But leave the things that happen on the pitch to the people that need it. He actually does, in fairness, from me. Leave it to the lads that know best, and that's the managers that you bring in. And you know, we've seen them so many times make such rash decisions that you kind of think, yeah, no, you're right. I think Arsenal have more chance of winning the Champions League than Spurs do anyway, and that's saying something. But yeah, like I said, leave it to the experts. He doesn't know much. Like, imagine sacking Mourinho a week for a cup final. You know, you have Mason going in there and stuff like that, and obviously, like ourselves,
and you know the story behind that was apparently over the bonus.
Yeah, bloody joke, man. Absolute joke in nowadays. Like, but like, listen. I think they finished very bad like we did in the league last season. I always said, as bad as we were last season, I always looked at Spurs to cheer myself up. And obviously, the most dire Europa League final or European final you'll ever watch we were involved in. And I think after seeing that, now listen, maybe he has high hopes. Obviously, new manager coming in, he knows they're going to get a few new players in as well. But I can't see it happening at all. Not like Philip said, not in our lifetime anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane. Balloons with Bazoom, yeah. Only when Levy leaves and an actual owner with passion to grow the club buys that club. Yeah, in terms of football, obviously not in terms of revenue. I think in terms of revenue, I don't think you'll find a better guy in terms of generating wealth, in terms of a 5-year plan and a way to spend that revenue that's generated. I think that's where it lacks. I think with Spurs, I always look at Spurs, and we said it before, myself and Darren as well when we've been on shows. You give out a budget there of 200 million and they expect like 7-8 players instead of getting in 3 or 4 quality players.
Yeah.
5 quality players, you know. That's the problem for Spurs.
Well,
so they're always on that tier or two down in terms of the quality they bring in.
And you've seen it with the Gareth Bale money. Remember the lineup of all the players they bought with just the Gareth Bale money that time, you know, and not much quality within that.
It's a better chance of lifting Taylor Swift by the ears than the Premier League trophy. He does.
True that.
He does. Funny thing about that Spurs stadium, there's not a closed line in it. It's flat out. Do you think Levy is the Hicks and of Spurs? No, he's not. The money he generates is insane. They're not going broke anytime soon. It's the way they spend the money and the way they view football is the problem. I believe, anyway.
I was saying, talking to stadiums, I was talking to Jermaine Beckford, and he was showing me obviously pictures. Obviously, I've seen it before in videos of the new Everton Stadium, and he was saying he was obviously there and stuff like that. He said, "You want to see this?" And obviously, he's gotten a lot of offers for the first game of the season because it's Everton versus Leeds, so he has a few offers on the table there.
Yeah, Spurs Stadium empty like the shops in the LA riots. Don't know about that. They know Spurs winning the league is about as likely to happen as Trent winning a Ballon d'Or.
Very true, Dino. Very true. I think we've more of a chance of getting that Man City fan back on the show than Spurs winning the trophy. What do you reckon?
What's the likelihood of a right back winning a Ballon d'Or anyway? No matter what season
he
you have.
Consider himself a right back, though. That's the thing.
Oh no, he's a Galactico now. The right back used to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. This guy now, this Galactico is just Trent. You know, this is brand Trent.
Hey.
I blame Beckham. Beckham started all this.
You up the Becks.
There you go. Right, well, we talk a little bit fixtures, or do you want to talk transfers?
Whatever you want, cuz.
Right, well, we'll start off then with the fixtures. So we have the first day there, and then we have the derbies on the right-hand side. So all the key dates for the derbies and all that kind of stuff. Not a whole lot to read into it. You guys get this first Super Sunday versus Arsenal. Yeah, apparently, looking at the Opta went through the fixtures. And if you look at the first 5 or 6 fixtures, which I don't know, I presume they're the fixtures that bring you up to the first international break.
Yeah.
And Opta looked at that about yourselves and Arsenal have the toughest start in the first 6 games, right? But then if you blow it out to 10 games, Liverpool has the toughest start. Yeah. So it's interesting. So it's swings and roundabouts.
Yes, exactly.
There's been this narrative out there for the last week since the fixtures came out that the fixtures are structured in such a way to give Amrin and Arteta a tough start. So if they fall on their sword, the media will be in on them straight away. And this is the conspiracy theory that's going. But I kind of flipped it the other day on a podcast. I was in the chat and I said, but what about if Arsenal and Man United start off really well?
Yeah.
That flips the script.
Exactly.
You know, so we obviously start on the Friday against Bournemouth.
Yeah. Obviously that'd be a tricky game. Given we know how Bournemouth did last season, whether they can take that form into the new season or not against the reigning champions is another thing. But I don't know how you feel, but from my point of view, Man United against Arsenal, I'd rather see these games after the first international break. You know, when you've built up a bit of form, and because I think didn't you have Arsenal a few years ago on the first game of the season? A good few years ago, I think it was. But yeah, I like to think at home we could go out and beat them. But I'd rather see them about 6-7 games in these bigger games, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's a weird narrative as well, because like that for 6 games sample size is kind of strange. It's going to be interesting as well, obviously, with Chelsea and Man City playing in the World Club Cup, not getting a huge amount of time off and stuff like that, and you know, both sides trying to bed in a lot of transfers that have come in and stuff like that and all. And obviously Chelsea with a bit of work to do, obviously, in getting transfers in still, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all beds in. But it's a hard one, really, when you look at the fixtures and you kind of like, you know, I don't mind. Like, I'd have no problem if I was playing Hughes or playing Arsenal in the first Super Sunday. It wouldn't really bother me, like, because I still weigh in on the fact that everyone plays everyone twice. But I do understand the fact that in the first 6 or first 8 games, if it goes skew ways and you've 3 or 4 or 5 points after that, you can see where the heat gets ratcheted up. But I mean, that can happen to any team. You know what I mean?
Looking forward to the first time we're derby as well. That'd be a cracker.
I'm not sure whether they have or not yet, Everest. I haven't seen anything really. I've been so engrossed in kind of what the top teams are doing at the moment, which is insane, and the way things is all intertangled and meshed and all this. I haven't been really looking at what the lower teams have been doing. They will replace them, there's no doubt about it. But I think Bournemouth as well are going to probably lose a few more players as well. So it'll be interesting to see how their season goes under Iraola as well. Like, you know, they're losing serious players. You can see already the quality of Huyson and stuff like that and all. He's a quality player. And Kerkez, we know how good he is. About to be announced tomorrow at his medical today. So we shall see. I actually love we have Arsenal first game this season. I can see us beating them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bring it on. That's for me. It's bring it on. You know what I mean? That's how I always look at the fixtures. You know. But we shall see. Big up, Ted. Well, we might catch Arsenal on the hop here before they build some momentum. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Ted.
Yeah, Absolutely. It's always interesting, especially if teams are bringing in a lot of players and stuff like that and all, you know. Sunderland will beat Derby's record in the Premier League. They'll be passed around like they're at a diddy party.
It'd be interesting to see how they spend the Bellingham money, to be fair. I think that'd be a sign of intent for them to see what players to bring in from that.
Yeah, and again, that stadium of Lloyd is a tough place to go. It's not easy, you know, and you got the derbies there as well, haven't you, with Newcastle and stuff, so that time where Derby is up there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that first one,
That should be interesting, yeah. Both of them, so I think the first one's at Sunderland as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, December 13th.
Yeah. So
they'll be all out with no tops on December the 13th, freezing cold.
And United are, I'm in Blackpool in October for the bank holiday weekend. United are home to Brighton, so I'm going to try to get down for that one.
Nice.
Might see what Wales gives a few tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can hook you up. If you couldn't chat to Darren.
No, sure. I know a few lads there as well. Keith and my cousin and all do have them.
Happy days. So that was the report I told you about, the update index one.
Yeah.
Where they went and had a look at all the fixtures for the first 5 or 6 games or whatever it is. Man United with the toughest start, apparently Arsenal second, and we're down in 5th. So interesting. Aston Villa apparently with the easiest beginning in the first 5 games. And then Palace, and then West Ham, Burnley, Brentford, Chelsea down there. So, so we shall see. Right, we'll talk about the transfers. I suppose if we're going to talk about transfers, we'll take some comments first. Where are we? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got that one. Ted, that time where Derby is a serious, scrappy one. Yeah, absolutely. And it's very, we looked at it last week with Darren, actually, or the week before. It's very level pegging as well, that time where Derby at the moment. There's not much in it, like, in terms of history. I really want Millwall to get to the Prem and break Derby's record while recreating Green Street here with the Hammers.
There's been a good few 3-0s over the last few years they played against each other. Obviously, a lot of 1-0s and 1-0s here and there. Newcastle 5-1 and stuff. Yeah, so good few little 3-0s and all that.
Geordies versus Malcolms will outdo the US versus Iran. Jeez, don't mention the war. Mark, that first game versus Arsenal was about 14 years ago.
Yeah, no, I knew it was a few years ago.
Right back and Jack left back. We beat them 2-1. Raul Morelos and Suarez.
Was it not the? Was it? No, I don't think it was 14 years ago because I think we played.
No, are you thinking of the one where it was? Are you thinking? Didn't we draw them in the first round of a cup?
I'm not too sure. I'm nearly sure. Was it the same? I think it was the same weekend we played Bournemouth. Remember, Zlatan made his debut. He scored a long range shot against Bournemouth. I think it was that weekend there.
Yeah. It's May Everest recreates the Firm movie. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Rise of the Foot Soldiers. Let's go. Right, so if we're going to mention, we'll talk a little bit about transfers then.
Yeah, there's another one of that coming out, isn't there?
Have they done another one again? Have they?
Yeah.
I've seen the two boys and Mal Carton and all. They've been doing and your man who played Tucker. I've been doing a couple of podcasts. They're back friends again. I don't think they were friendly for a while.
Serious?
But apparently they're back friendly, so maybe something's happening already.
As they said, they've been them characters longer than the lads have been alive in real life.
Absolutely, 100%.
How are you, Baz?
William, we beat Bournemouth 3-1 then, I think. Yeah, I would have thought so. We shall see. It depends how this window goes as well. Let's have a chat about Aston Villa's new signing.
Fucking gobshite. Absolute gobshite. You're in a beat. There's better things you could be doing than going around. He knew what he was doing. He's going to provoke the fan base and stuff like that. It's just petty. Absolute petty from him, you know. And I wouldn't expect anything less. That's the fears, yeah.
How does this land? Yeah, how does this land? Do you think this is not a good look for the lad either, is it? It was trying to get a move. I get the shithousery behind it and all and stuff like that and all, but it's not a good look really if you're trying to find a new club and your club is looking at this guy and going, this guy's a bit of a shithouse. So if things go skew-ways with us, is this where we're going to land with this guy? This guy has an awful lot of attitude for a guy who hasn't delivered a whole lot. I would say. You
Well,
know
listen,
what I mean?
he's played with Messi and Ronaldo. That's his angle, you know. But now I think obviously the last team meeting of the season, he was told he's no longer required, and obviously that's rubbed him up the wrong way. But and he's close to Rashford, and we all know Rashford's situation as well. He's touting himself out to every club possible: Real Madrid, Barcelona. But yeah, I just think it's petty. I think it's needless. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it just shows his mentality, you know. And it's not something that I would want around the club now.
It's not a good look either for a future club looking at it either. You know, it's kind of like you're going to devaluing yourself a little bit by showing your pettiness a little bit. You know what I mean?
But like,
I don't know why he'd be rocking that either, because we know the other guy's styles his own shit.
Over the summer. We're still paying his wages over the summer, like, so have some sort of respect for the club that are paying your wages.
You're paying for both those car rentals, that villa, and anything he's doing that day and all. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Ted,
and that poxy looking haircut that he has.
I think there is shithousery and stupidity. This shows a lack of respect to club and fans. He wasn't even close to Rashford. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a combination of the two, Ted. It's not a great look if he's searching for a new club. What's more embarrassing, he has Rashford on the bike.
True.
Yeah. Phil, I heard United want him in a swap deal with Nkunku. I don't want Nkunku with United, but I will be glad to see Garnacho go. He's going on like a twat as of late. Yeah, like he certainly believes his shit doesn't smell, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Nkunku seems to be one of those guys as well that can get a bit petulant and a bit frustrated as well, couldn't he? Yeah. We've seen little shades of it at Chelsea, stuff like that. Now, he hasn't kind of really, like, the Chelsea situation has been kind of weird with Nkunku. What a baller he was in the Bundesliga. Unbelievable. So, but we know how that translates. I hope it doesn't. But I hope Verts is the other way, and that translates well. What have you made of the transfers so far? Start with your own team, United. Obviously, Cunha done fairly quick. I don't think there was anyone in the race. He wanted to go to Man United. That was it. Wrapped up pretty quick. And Buemo seems to have almost been done, but hasn't kind of happened yet. Still a little back and forth with bids on what Brentford want.
I heard there was an improved bid today put in, so just wait to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll end up at United, won't he? I don't think that's in question. I think it's just what people are willing to pay and stuff like that. But very good signing, and a player we've spoke highly about on this podcast for a long, long time now, as is Cunha as well. What do you want after that as well? Because it seems like they've been so focused on this Buemo deal, and we know with United as well, they don't tend to work on a lot of stuff at the same time. They tend to work on them singly. We're about to go into July next week, you know, only a couple of weeks away from pre-season and tours, and then before you know, we'll be in the height of the Community Shield and the league and all that kind of stuff. What else do you want to happen at United? Obviously, we know the characters you want out the door, the Sanchos, the Rashfords, the Garnachos, the Anthony's and all that kind of stuff. They'll go out the door. And obviously you've had a number of players who have left, the Lindelofs, the Christian Eriksen's and stuff like that and all. But where do you want this to land? Where's the key positions that you need starters in?
Hell, goalkeeper for one. I reckon Onana needs to go. We need to get someone in. Obviously the biggest mistake we ever made was let De Gea go. I think Boyinder is on his way out, so you have to look at number one and a number two then. Whether that will happen or not, I don't think so. I think obviously Boyinder will probably go before Onana, but Onana has to go, in my opinion. And we need a stronger keeper there to build the team around, kind of like he hasn't, I won't name drop, but I was talking to Yap Sam about him on Saturday night, and Yap would agree that he's not the keeper to take this team forward, you know. And he said he loved him when he was in Holland and stuff, but it just hasn't been the same. So, and he always knew he'd take risks and stuff, but you know, there's taking risks and there's been absolute stupid, like, you know, that sort of way. So, sorry.
Yeah, no, he was just talking about he likes him as a footballer, but obviously, you know, and when he leaves, he'll probably do really well wherever he goes, and then the shade will be thrown at United. There you go. another player you let slide through that's doing well. But if
they always seem to, like we've talked about this before, when players leave, they seem to just get rejuvenated and go on to better things.
We know United for the last 10, 12 years have had a huge cultural problem as well,
100%.
and that's all trying to be fixed and resolved as well. So like that's going to take a cycle of a certain amount of time to happen, Dino Rise the Foot Soldier 26 gone to outer space to fight Alien FC is firm. And you know something? And you know something? If they announced it, we'd watch it.
Too right.
They announced it, we'd watch
too right.
Yeah. Pate being brought out of cryo or something like that, like Superman or something like that. What about hologram hands on Nana? Is he staying?
Did you see him? Did you see him playing outfield back home?
Yeah.
He fancies himself as an outfield player.
I think the difficulty for United at the moment is you've had on one side Amarin kind of at times dressing the players down and throwing them under the bus a bit. But then the flip side of that as well is the likes of Cox and Barada and all, they're trying to get the maximum value out of these players going out the door, because obviously there might be a certain amount of book value there that has to be cleared, plus you want to make a little bit. And it's very difficult if you keep on hammering them, or people keep on saying, oh, Nana's shit. How do you find a new home for him? So the difficulty. So I think what you're saying at the club at the moment is the club is dampening it down a little bit. And there's lots of talk that you heard from Rashford, I think it was yesterday, that he'll be in pre-season training and all this kind of stuff and all, but we know the score. Onana's kind of the same, where they've kind of said they need a new goalkeeper. He doesn't want to be number 2. He'll probably head back to Serie A or something like that. But they have to talk him up. They can't keep on talking them down.
Well, unless you could do now, send him out on loan to Serie A and hope, like with other players, he really improves and shines, and then we get him sell him at a decent price at the end of next season. But you just wouldn't know.
I think the issue for the loans at times is because of the level of wage that sometimes these players are on. You guys end up having to carry some of that bag, and you don't want to be doing that really. And then, of course, obviously you have clubs as well. Clubs are looking and they know that you guys are under the caution bit as well, because you need to get these guys out the door in order to move forward with the rest of your transfer plans.
Exactly.
What an absolute that is, Garnacho. I remember 2 years ago saying he was about to take off, and Darren the Green, shame that his attitude stinks. Yeah, I think it's just. I think the problem is you have a kind of a level of player there that things get in on top of them, and when things aren't going well, and obviously last season must have been so toxic for everyone. And I think just players handle it different ways. He's a young kid. He's handling it in the way that he thinks, and it's not the way to do it. You have other guys look at the guff that Casemiro was getting all season, and yet if you look at those last 6-8 games, how he just started playing football and getting on with it and stuff like that and all. That's a seasoned veteran who knows how the system works and has been through it.
Exactly.
But yeah, spot on, Dino. Keeper is a must. We should have done. We shouldn't. Should never have done. Sorry, David De Gea dirty like that. Said it since the day we did it. You did, Ted. You were all in on it right from day one. 100%. Onana couldn't catch a bus on O'Connell Street. Yes, absolutely.
He couldn't catch an Irish person on O'Connell Street. There's fucking none.
Why would anybody want him, especially the likes of Chelsea? I think Leeds on loan for a season be a good move. I don't know. Oh, he's like Garnacho, obviously. Yeah. I don't know. See, the thing about it is he might suit that Chelsea kind of, not that Chelsea way, but the way there's a level of shithousery in Chelsea that's praised. Nearly expected, you know what I mean? Like you're saying that even the other night in the World Club Cup, the way it kicks off, you know what I mean? And you're saying it with Jackson and stuff like that and all. Yeah. So there's a level of that there that kind of is expected nearly, I wouldn't take Onana free in a Happy Meal. The fella is as useful as pot noodle with no electric for warm water. I think we all know that, but I think they can't, I think most people know that, but they can't put it out into the ether, because otherwise then you end up losing them on a free just to get rid of them or whatever it is. Give us a good fee for a loan. Yeah, absolutely. They wouldn't have heartbeat, I'd say. I was surprised, actually. I was surprised when Chelsea backed out of the Mike Mannion deal that just didn't jump in there at the 23 million or whatever it was. I thought he would have been a good sign. So, but again, yeah. Talk to me about Arsenal. What have you made of Arsenal so far? Obviously, it looks like Zubimendi in the door. Pittering around on kind of Sesko, Yerkes, and various other things. Talk about a left winger coming in. Martinelli linked with a move potentially away to Bayern Munich. That's the talk. Whether it does or happen, not. Partey, I think he was out of contract. I think tomorrow is there or something like that. He's out of contract. Doesn't look like he's re-signed. It looks like they're going to lose Thomas Partey. By the sounds of things, I haven't had an update on it, so I didn't see that today. But what have you made of Arsenal as they prepare to go into their nearly their 6th season, whatever it is, under Arteta, and trying to chase down silverware and serious silverware in actually the league and the Champions League and stuff like that? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, sorry, cause can you just the dog's barking? Yeah, I'm just gonna let him.
Go on, far away. I'll talk around, take some comments. Ryan's in. Big up, Ryan. What's happening, my friend? How are you? Hope you are good. Your team, Ryan, as well, is the St. Pat's we gave you. Struggling at the moment. I think they lost tonight and they lost at the weekend as well, from what I can gather. Just to let you know. But hope you're good. Let us know how you're doing. And you got that player over the line. I seen he signed the deal, done and dusted there today. Was it today or yesterday? I think it was yesterday or today. I was saying it's a fair play. Yeah, they lost 1-0 to Derry at home tonight, and they lost away, I think it was, at Galway United at the weekend, 3-1. If you get to check the clips of that game, Ryan, the Galway United one, one of the players scored from the halfway line. The second goal by Hurley, I think it was. All good. Thank you, Niall. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine, my friend. Doing absolutely fine. Typical, every time my back goes to shit. Yeah, check out. See if you can get YouTubes of that Galway match. Galway United versus St. Pat's 3-1. The second goal was a belter.
Sorry about that, lads.
Yeah, no bother at all.
So yeah, the neighbours.
Yeah, I'll tell me about it. So Arsenal.
Yeah, obviously, listen, even Stevie Wonder could see over the last few years they need an out-and-out striker, a goal scorer. Obviously, last season or season 4 they were linked with Isaac, and that's even getting the likes of Sterling in, it was never gonna really work.
Shocking.
You look at some of the things like Partey, will be a miss for them. But I just think they need a striker. They done really well getting Raya in, and obviously the whole Ramsdale-Raya situation at the time was the big talking point. Every save Raya would take, the camera would go to Ramsdale. They sorted that out. They've probably 2 of the best centre halves in the league as a partnership at the, in terms of Saliba and Gabriel. But they just need that bit of fire up front. And I know they've been linked with a few players over the last few weeks, and nothing seems to really have kind of started. I know we had the little kind of break in the transfer window, but they seem to be linked with someone, and it just get dampened.
There was talk as well. Bertha's obviously come in as the sporting director.
Yeah,
he's come in to close out some of these deals and stuff like that. And obviously his links in Europe came from Atletico, I think it was. And but there seems to be one side of this situation wants your man Victor Yerkes, and the other side of this situation wants Benjamin Sesko. So it's kind of like it's who's going to win out. This is kind of Edu Arteta vibes again, you know what I mean? And it's like, for me, I think Yerkes is the one to bring in. I think Sesko, I think he's a very, very good player. I think he has a very high ceiling, but I still think he's kind of a project player as well.
Yeah.
And I think to see this out, I think Arteta has to deliver this season. And I think the last thing he needs is a project type player. I think he needs a real bagsman who's going to score you 20, 25 goals. And that's what I think is really needed and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure. KT got a lucky escape from Arteta's brain dead management. Absolutely. Arsenal have signed about 4 players, all called Zubimendi already this year. Yeah. He was the one who was in the bag apparently since January. The deal that was agreed in January, from what we heard in that window, to come in the summer. And then since the summer, it's taken them forever to get it over.
Even though there's no mountains in North London, like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the other lad was flashing himself to Real Madrid as well. Come get me kind of thing to Alonso and all, you know what I mean? And obviously that wasn't going to happen, so he was happy enough then to come to Arsenal. But I'd say if Real Madrid had showed any intent and wanted to come in from, I think he would have waved at Arsenal, you know. So I'm not sure if that's the kind of mentality and guy you want to be bringing in, if that's the case, you know. But we shall see. The other thing I would say as well is Thomas Partey coming out of that midfield, I think is going to create issues for them. Because I think he's the guy in there, the physicality of the, you know, when we talk about the Premier League and we talk about midfields, you know, we talk about the physicality you need in there, you know, to boss a match and take control of the match and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that ilk of that player that you need in there. You see it at times as well from Declan Rice, loves the battle of getting stuck in there and stuff like that. Yeah. But Partey seems to be that guy. He's that focal guy in there, always winning it back, playing the simple pass to create the offensive move and, you know, the transition and stuff like that. I think with his physicality out of there, you're going in there with then a Declan Rice, a Martin Odegaard, and a Zubimendi, and I think it might be just a little bit light, no? I think where you'll have up the technical and the skill level of it, I think the physicality in there, you know, that physicality when you go in there against a real tough team and stuff like that, that really want to have a go against you, you know, the likes of a Forest or a, you know, whoever it is who want to go in there and really absolutely upend that midfield and take control of it. Crystal Palace is a good example, actually.
Yeah.
You know, whether they'll fancy it or not, so we shall see, you know. Will Zubimendi get homesick? Everyone's in London just tense, yeah, I'll tell you. Don't be surprised. For me, mentality is huge. The women will tell you how much he takes control, doesn't take no for an answer here. Jesus. Good Lord, Ted. Good Lord. Zubi giving up Spanish cuisine for bangers and mash. Don't think he will be. Somehow. Yeah, but yeah, you're going to find out very quick whether this guy fancies it or not. Yeah, he certainly didn't fancy Liverpool, giving it up for Liverpool anyway, that's for sure. So we shall see. What have you made of Liverpool so far? Obviously, Vert's coming in, Frimpong coming in, Kerke is about to be announced, Marmadashvili on the back of last season, Quavine moving out, a number of other players about to move out as well.
Yeah, all good business. Surprised how early you are doing it and how much money you are spending, to be honest with you. But yeah, really good signings coming in and to add to you know, the Premier League winning squad from last season. Obviously, a few outgoings as well, and possibly a few more. I know where Harvey's been linked with a move away. Obviously, Andy as well and stuff like that. So there's still plenty.
Good moves.
Oh yeah. No, they are 100%. But like I said,
Yeah.
I think you have moved well and you have spent, which I think a lot of even Liverpool fans would have been shocked by as well. But yeah, no, it's been good business from you so far.
Yeah, talk is they're gonna push out about 200 million in sales, and that's going to be available to spend as well. So we shall see, you know, because if they get that 200 million in that they want from the outgoings, that balances out what we've done so far, basically. So. From a net point of view, even though it doesn't mean that, but it's important that you show intent by spending more, you know. So, but I still think they'll probably get in a striker, and I still think, depending on what happens with Diaz or Gakpo, I think they'll go left-sided as well. They're linked again with Anthony Gordon. I think the Isaac deal, while it sounds lovely and stuff like that, I don't know if that's what they're bagging up for to offer Newcastle. Something that they just can't refuse, or is it realistic? I know they're also linked with Usman as well off Napoli because apparently they want Darwin and one other player. And there's talk that they're trying to bundle the two players into a deal for Victor Usman. So we'll see. Always very, very tough deals to do those. And we should
got that over the line and be laughing.
Yeah, I heard Garnacho in the background of the live.
I think you've dogs barking, I've dogs barking here as well.
You don't want to know how many dogs I have here.
Oh, I'd well believe it. Believe
it. It's more than 20 and less than 30. Jeez, there you go.
Christ.
So having one barking isn't too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else cropped up in the transfer window that you've seen that's kind of kicked out? Chelsea, kind of brought in the lap.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. Obviously, started off with City, we've seen him at loan on Stoke a few times, and then went off to Ipswich to play his trade and done very well. So it's going to be interesting how he does in the Premier League with a Premier League, a higher Premier League level team, you know. So, but I think he'll probably adapt well to it. He was fairly well liked at City at the time, but obviously we know what City are like with sending players out on loan, but left, right, and centre. So yeah, it should be interesting. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's been so far. There hasn't been much too concrete signings in terms of what we just talked about already, you know. So it should be an interesting few weeks ahead, you know.
And City, Preston City, Cherokee going in, Newry going in, Rangers going in, all good signings.
Great signings, and I think Newry's did he claim that goal? Did he? It looked like it was going wide to me.
I'd say he claimed it, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah. No, so they know what they're doing, and obviously keep Haaland fit this season. I think a few more people might have him in the fancy, depending on his price now. Good signing so far, and I think there'll be still a little bit more to come from City as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for the moment. So we'll come back to it over the next few weeks anyway, as we follow the transfer window. But folks, that's it for tonight. I am back tomorrow night with Pro Wrestling Weekly. We're going to be taking a look at Night of Champions. Will it go ahead? Will it not go ahead? Apparently they're grounding all flights down there in the aerospace where the attacks are taking place and stuff like that. Night of Champions is in Riyadh this Saturday, so I can't see it happening. I think they're going to have to pivot from it, but we'll be talking about all things wrestling as well tomorrow night, so make sure you join us if that's your thing. And Thursday I'll be back with Darren. We'll be talking fixtures. I'm sure we'll talk a bit about Duffer as well and transfers and all that kind of good stuff, as we always do. Where are we? There we go. I thought my missus was barking for lifting the toilet seat again, lads. Money talks over safety for WWE. At times it does, but don't know. Airports are back open, ready? Yeah, I heard even Dubai over the weekend they'd stopped all the British Airways flights. They grounded all the flights going down. People were going ballistic on TikTok and that I seen that. So folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. And we'll be back with you again real soon. Cheers, cuz.
Cheers, cuz.